guess I'll just kind of kick it off. How long, I know some of these answers already, obviously, but how long have you been with WR Property so far?
So January, I came on board with WR in January. I think I know everybody probably with the exception of Allie that I've met and talked to and spent time with. But as you guys all know, I've had my license for 18 years. I am a broker. So I've only hung my license with one other company in resale real estate. I've done other things with my license, but I hung my license with EXP for a short time, probably from like 21 to 22. Well, no, it would have been like 20 to 21 or something like that. But it was part-time because I had a full-time job. And I decided early 2023 that I was going to go just straight self-employed. I was just going to step out on faith and just do it, right? I figure if I put the same time and energy into real estate as I do a W-2 job, failure is not an option, right? Like, how can I fail, right? So I started in January. I did not start taking Zillow calls until February 1st. So I'm very process oriented. I'm extremely structured. So I wanted to start at the beginning of a month so I could truly take a look back and reflect on a month. For some reason in my head, if I start something in the middle of the month, it's hard for me to track it. I know that sounds so stupid because you could just go from like the 15th to the 15th or the 20th to the 20th, but I always start things at the beginning of a month. So when I reached out to Wes in November and told him I was looking to hang my license somewhere, he didn't know me, I didn't know him. Somebody that knew somebody at WR told me to give him a call. I interviewed 6, different brokerages. And I wasn't I didn't really know about Zillow leads. I knew about Zillow leads, but I didn't know about Zillow leads. But what I was really looking for was an environment where I could grow and really learn the business from somebody that I felt that I could trust and that I look up to. That is extremely important to me, to be able to trust someone and actually just like, if they say something, I'm like, yeah, because I meet a lot of people and I'm like, that's bullshit. Right? Bullshit. I can see bullshit. Bullshit calls bullshit. And I will tell you that the 6 that I interviewed, there was only one other guy that I even thought about hanging my license with, but he talked about him too much, all his material things. And I was just like, if I was 20, I would be so excited. I'd be like, yeah, but I'm in my 40s and it didn't impress me. I don't need to hear that. I'm like, no. So I was so excited when I talked to Wes, and then he told me he wasn't bringing anybody on in January. I was like, no problem. Had a couple of deals just under my own broker license. I said, no problem. And I will say he played me pretty good because he's like, well, we don't bring a lot of people on. And I said, well, I told Walter, my husband, I said, if Wes does not call me to set up a call, I'm just going to go knock on WR door and say, hey, let me just have a couple of minutes of your time. Let me just tell you what I can bring to the team. So needless to say, I didn't have to do that. Wes called me and I started in January. I kind of went on a tangent. I tend to do that. But that's just a little background about me, kind of how I function, because the questions that Patrick are going to ask me are going to kind of lead into the way I do things and how I do them and why I approach them a certain way. So Patrick, I'm going to hand it back to you now.
No, that was good. That was good. It shows your persistence. Definitely makes sense that I'm sure if that's how you're handling looking for a brokerage and getting an interview, if one wasn't to come, similar probably way you approach
it. Imagine how to handle customers, right?
Exactly. So I love it. Love the persistence, and you want something, go get it. Don't wait for it to fall into your lap. Great feedback, great answer. Awesome. So you've been here about a half a year. We could say a full 6 months, and then taking leads for about 5 months now. Do you know how many deals you've closed so far? How many flex deals you've been able to close thus far?
Yeah, and I will actually break it down a little more for you. Cool. So I'm not a numbers person, but I do like to watch results. Okay, so in February, I took 13 leads. Okay, and Wes told me, he's like, you took too many leads, but it was my first time. So in February, I took 13 leads. Out of those 13 leads, I got 4 people approved and I got 2 into contract. The following, I took 13 leads. I got 3 people approved and I got 1 in the contract. So I
Nice.
had my first closings in April. I closed 2. In May, I closed 1. I did not close any deals in June, but I'm closing 4 next week. So
Wow.
I will have 7 deals closed in 7 months. I didn't close anything in first quarter. Okay.
Gotcha.
So goal of myself for 36 deals this year. When Gina Marie, we all got together and we did the dream boards, and I put a 36 on there. I wanted to close 36 deals, but when I looked at, I didn't close anything in first quarter, right? So nothing, January, February, March, nothing, right? I had my first closings in April. I said, well, I'll probably dial this down to 27. Now I'm going here because I want to tell you guys something. We think like we have these double digits numbers. This is my first full year in resale real estate. I got so busy. I'm not, and even now, like it's amazing how activity just breeds like this crazy amount of things that are going on. So I have my 4 deals that are closing this month. So that's 7 deals in 7 months, but really 7 deals in 4 months because I didn't close anything first quarter. But I got so busy with the showings, and I'm not big on writing too many offers. And I don't want to sound cocky when I say this, guys, but when I go in to write an offer, I go in to win it. Like literally, I'm not fucking around. I'm talking to the listing. If I have to show up to the open house, I need the listing agent to know who Mysti Matthews is. It's the same way if I'm winning a client, I need the listing agent to want to do business with me. Like literally, I want them to want to do business with me. And it doesn't always work out that way, but it's mine thinking like, look how competitive the market is. And I have 4 closings next week. You know, it's just the whole mindset of going in and saying, this is what I'm going to do and putting a number to it. So I got super busy. I only took 2 leads we're in June. So I took 5 leads in May, and I took 2 leads in June. Needless out of that, I'm still writing offers because I've only taken 41 total leads the time that I've been here with WR. The follow-up is so important. I can't talk enough about Chime. If you haven't set your Chime up, guys, you got to do it. I'm closing a deal this month from February. Somebody that I just talked to in February, and they're like, Mysti, we're ready, let's go. You know, and I'm still writing offers for one of my clients who I met in April. And the only reason we haven't won an offer is because he has this crazy girlfriend in Kansas and she's not realistic with his budget. And I am very, very like, I don't sugarcoat things, but I'm not rude and I'm not aggressive, but I am very upfront. And I literally just told him this morning, I'm like, Skylar, if Nicole is not on board with the budget, we're never going to get a house. It's that simple. It's just that simple. There was a house here in Brentwood. I've been trying to tell him just Brentwood because you're looking long-term. Resale value is going to be best in Brentwood. I sent him a house. Someone passed away, you know, an older gentleman passed away in it, natural causes. It's priced right, $699. I said we can $750. Let's do it. Well, Nicole doesn't like the backyard. I said, Skylar, you got to raise the budget. If Nicole doesn't like the backyard, we got to raise the budget. So I think just the conversations with clients is the same way I approach going in over asking. There's no gray. But I don't always like to go in over asking. I got my ass handed to me last week on a house in Concord. And I actually enjoyed it because it's a learning lesson. Everything I do, I take something from it, the good and the bad. There was a house me and my client looked at and no offers came in on it. And the listing agent sent out an email and she didn't receive any offers. And I'm seeing that a lot right now. I seen it on 3 houses last week. And all the listing agents reached out to me like, hey, Mysti, your client's still, you know, your client is, are they still interested? Well, first of all, what's happening, homes are sitting on the market longer unless they're extremely desirable. They're not going in 4 to 5 days anymore. It's more like 2 weeks. But agents who aren't watching that, they don't know. So they're thinking, oh my God, my house isn't going to sell. Oh my God. So she sends the email out, no offers. I I call my client, I say, hey, let's go in 25,000 under. I know you like it, but you're not in love with it. So let's just see. So that was right before the 4th. We send it in and she's tinkering around with me. I've done enough deals to know, right? She's like, has a little carrot. Well, my sellers are traveling and they just, I sent the counter over, but they want to wait. And then she gets back to me. They want to have another open house. I'm like, okay, no problem. It's 4th of July. Like, yeah, whatever, have a house. So then she becomes a snob instantly. She's like, oh, Mysti, we got an offer, significantly over asking. Do you want to change your offer? I said, no, but thank you. Thanks for the, thanks for the update. So I think it's being confident in ourselves and knowing our clients to say, do you believe in going 50,000, 60,000? I don't believe in going, 50, 60, 100,000 over asking on a piece of shit house. I don't believe it. Unless you have to move, unless this is your freaking dream home, like the house I sold to some folks in Clayton, it was amazing. So what? We went 100,000 over and it needed $30,000 worth of work. There's nothing like it. I can sell that all day long. But a 1950s house in Concord, man, fine, let somebody else take that crap. So it's just that mindset that I have of being confident, but also knowing, like, looking at the neighborhood, knowing what's important to my client. Uh-oh, Patrick, you froze. Okay, you're back. I was like, you froze. Does that mean you froze?
Yeah, I think we'll have breathing here and there.
I think I jumped into one of the questions about going over asking, but that's just my approach, guys. It's just me being Mysti, building trust and the rapport with my clients, so they trust me.
Beautiful.
So when I say, hey, let's go in 2500. No, I was just gonna say trust, like a little under you with the house. If we get it for lower, it's great. If we don't get it, we'll go to the next one. Or when I say, we need to go 1,000 over asking on a freaking townhouse in Pleasant Hill, I mean, I have to believe too. If I don't believe in it, I can't sell it to my client.
Agreed. I always run into that. I want to ask on that, with regards to the property you sold for where you guys went in over 100,000. Was that your guys' first? How many offers had you put in, or was that your first? And then B, how did that conversation go, or what did you support it with? I'm guessing you ran numbers, provided some market stats, but how did that conversation go with them to suggest, hey, for for example, it's listed at 7, we're going to go in at 8, or 1.1, I recommend 1.2. What did you do to prep that? I'm guessing you talking to a listing agent, trying to find out how many offers they have, or I know that in multiple offers, I would always try, I think we all try similar things, reach out like, hey, we're thinking about coming in around this. Is that a waste of time, or are we close? Blah, blah, blah. Like newer agents, you can get a lot of information out of sometimes. Like it's crazy. Sometimes I was able to get almost bottom line what I needed to come in at to get it. And I probably would have come in a bit higher if they hadn't given me that info. But, and then B, it was I always had a weakness in this, especially early on with clients, recommending they go super high over. And then I often kind of just chalked it up. You said something earlier that I really like, you don't waste time writing offers. And I had an approach where I kind of just banked on that. I was going to waste time writing at least one offer to build their trust, but I also maybe wasn't coming confident enough or providing enough data or rapport and building their trust in me. So I utilized losing an offer instead. So is there any certain things you do on in those scenarios on a redundant basis, as far as your process with reaching out listing agent, market stats, and then just kind of want to know how you talk to your clients about that?
Okay, so with the client, we'll go back to the first question you asked me, just the approach with the client. And we'll use that particular house as an example. So I met those clients at the house and spent some time there with them. And then I always, if we're not looking at other homes, I always like to sit with the clients. I don't like to stand and do business. It's not comfortable. You're not comfortable. It's just not. So with this particular client, this is the only house they wanted to see. So after they viewed the house, I said, hey, do you guys got a second to spend some time with me? We can just sit here in the living room and talk a little bit about, what's really important to you guys, because it was my first time meeting them. and they didn't want to see anything else. So I had to take advantage. I always take advantage of the time with the client. So they said, yeah, we ended up sitting there for like 2 hours. We watched the sunset set in that freaking house. And this is at the end of the conversation, this is how it went. Danny, which was the husband, he says, well, Mysti, this is the first house that we've looked at. And people always say, don't buy the first house that you look at. And his wife, Colleen, said, well, if all the eggs fit, why not? So I'm going to tell you guys about that later. There's a reason to the if all the eggs fit. So at that time, I said, guys, I can send you other homes. I'm going to tell you this particular home is something special. There's an architect built it back in the 90s. So it was modern. It had a big rock in the floor. It was just something there's nothing like this. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys, but I will send you some other listings. But you told me that this home makes you feel like Joshua Tree and Tahoe all mixed together. And if you love it, I think we should put all of our energy into this. Energy is something I always use because I believe what you give energy, you give life. So I left it at that. They get home. Well, yeah, they get home and they say, Mysti, we want to go for it. I automatically connect them with Zillow Home Loans. We have an approval the next day. The list day, there was one more open house. The open house had over 100 people walk through it. Offers were due like that Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe that Tuesday. So I called up the agent. I didn't know him. It's like Weinstein out of Oakland or something like that. And I said, I'm going to write an offer on the home on Meadowview. And can you give me any transparency? I always say the same thing. I asked every agent, can you offer me any transparency? Some agents do, some agents don't. But I tell you this, when an agent gives me a number, it's my fucking it's mine. I already know it. If they get a number, I have never, when they give me a number, it's done. I'm not losing. I'm not losing. But when they say some stuff, just come in with your highest and best, I'm like, freaking jerks. But yeah, so he gave me a number. And he gave me the number, and I had already kind of let my clients know this home is going over asking. The question is do you see the value in this home? Do you see yourself living in this home the next 5 to 10 years? They were traveling nurses, so it was a sanctuary to them. So I know that it was important. They wanted that house. So he gave me a number. It was late on a Tuesday too, and he told me, he says, Mysti, there is 2 other people that's competing with you. And I'm super front. I said, just give me a number. Let's go pending. I say that too every time. Give me a number. Let's go pending.
No way.
Every time. Give me a number. Let's go pending. And damn, we were pending in like 30 minutes.
No way. Nice. So you were competing against a few different offers and you literally, that was your response. Like, give me a number. Let's go pending.
Just give me a number. Let's go pending. Yep. And sometimes if I feel the need, with him, I didn't feel the need. But I also will let listing agents know that I'm very thorough. I'm super if you reach out to me, you're going to get me. You're not going to have to call me 3-4 times. Uh-oh, Patrick, you're frozen. Oh, you're moving. Okay, I thought you're frozen. I let them know how efficient I am. It's going to be a smooth, easy close. There's not going to be any issue. And if there are, I'll take care of them. I didn't have to do that with him, but when I do have an agent, like I had a property in Concord that's closing next week, I needed to talk to that agent about that because I could tell she was kind of like, so I told, I said, it's going to be a smooth, easy close. I'm going to be an agent you want to work with. I promise you that. So I do sometimes sum it up with that. But with my clients, they have to see the value, and it's building the value. And sometimes you can just see it in their eyes. Like they love it. They want the house. And people need to be led. Honestly, they really do. There's some things where they just need to know. Like, I don't know, Mysti, what do you think? I had a client last night text me and say, Mysti, do you think, we looked at a house in Clayton, Concord borderline, and it was him and his family. They came all the way up from San Francisco. And he said, we really like this house. I didn't like the house. I felt that he's going to be commuting back to San Francisco. It's deep Ignacio Valley for all of us who know Clayton Concord border. You're going to have to go all the way up Ignacio. I'm like, and I told him, I'm going to be very honest. I said, the house is overpriced. and it's going to be a really long commute for you. He's like, but my family loves it. I said, well, let's do it. Let's not look any farther. Let's do it. So
nice.
We went to make an offer, and I'm going to be really honest, I did not want to work with the agent. The agent was the father of the owner. They were right under $90,000 over anything else in the community. House is still on the market, still on the market. So, but my clients want to make an offer. So I reach out and said, are you guys open to offers? And he's like, no, the seller really wants asking. Not going to waste my time, not going to waste my client's time. There is nothing else on the market at 890 Clayton Concord border with a 3,000 square foot lot. I don't even know where they got that number from. They just wanted to sell the house for that. But it just had a like $25,000 price reduction. We'll probably be writing an offer. It makes more sense now. But it's just being able to lead a client and believe it. I'll never lead a client to something I don't believe. I won't. I'm going to give my honest opinion. And I don't care if it costs me a commission. I'm not going to do it. If I don't believe in it, I'm going to tell them my truth. If they decide to move forward, like they still like that particular house, we missed out on 3 other amazing houses in Clayton Concord border that they could have gotten, but they don't like it. So it's not for me to tell them what to like, but it is for me to tell them to do my due diligence. Like that one was overpriced. So it's building up, Patrick, and it's different for every client. I think some of my clients who don't need as much guidance, I sit back a little more and not be as overly opinionated, we'll call it, because they don't want to hear it. You know, like I pick up on it, like they don't want to hear me telling them, like, because they think they already know. So I can't tell them what I do know. So it's just studying people.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. No, you got to adjust per client.
It really is.
Read them and kind of adjust your own service and what you provide per client. So no, that's awesome. I'm loving all this feedback and all your answers. Amazing stuff. All right, we're going to circle back. We ended up doing this a little differently than I thought, but I'm going to circle back to what I initially was going to start with, and then we'll kind of, and then we'll return. But no, this is awesome. I love the way this is flowing. So kind of just circling back just to like your general routine, how you keep your mindset, you're self-motivated. I know we all go through ebbs and flows of that. But, you know, and it's a constant work in progress for me as well. But what would you say are like the top few things that you attribute to your success, whether it be tools or mindset or your why or your family?
Okay, so first is discipline. You know, a lot of us say things, even I say things and never do it, right? I always tell my kids that there's 2 kinds of people in this world. There's people that make things happen, and there's people that wish for things to happen. And you fall into one bucket. I don't care who you are. Like a lot of people want to put gray. No, you fall into one of those buckets. You either get up and do it, or you just kind of talk about it and you never do it, or you kind of half-ass do it, you know? So for me, coming into 2023 was just like you making a big change at 47 years old, right? You're going to start a new career, and you can't half-ass it. You got to be all in. You got to bring the same discipline that you brought to your first sales job when you were freaking 24 years old. So it's like my 47-year-old self talking to my 24-year-old self saying, hey, Mysti, I need you to show up. Because, you know, I'm a different Mysti. So it's like my why, obviously I have 2 kids in college. I don't want them to pay for college. So that's a big why. But my why to myself is like, do you still got it? Like, you still got it, because you used to bring it. Like when in my 20s, guys, I did work a lot. I was a total workaholic. Had to create some balance in my 30s. But I would just bring it. Like I was just a beast. You know, like I would just show up and just slaughter. And my first sales job was I was a loan officer, and I would just like, people like, oh my God, Mysti, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I just show up. Show up. So coming back into a sales role, I feel like entry level to me, because I'm back pounding the pavement and knocking on doors and doing things that I used to do over 20 years ago. was just like, can you still bring it? I mean, like, honestly, even Walter said, he's like, damn, I haven't seen you in like 3 days. What will you proving something to? And I said, myself, just myself, to see like, hey, do I still have it? Now, on the flip side, I used to work out all the time, and I have completely fallen off the wagon. I think Mia, if Mia's still on the call, I can tell her I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up because we go to the same gym, and
Waiting
I've been
for
making
it.
excuses. I know, right? I've been making excuses. Every Monday I say I'm coming, but I
And
am. I am. So that part, I'm totally half-assing and not doing it, right? Remember I said we all fall in one bucket. So I'm killing it in my career, but my fitness journey has fallen by the wayside. But I'm taking care of it. Because I went to a swim party this last weekend, and I was like, oh man, I should have been working out.
it is
So
always tough to balance all that. I know I'm currently kind of go through. I don't know. I feel like I can only really focus on like growing to. I'm always like right now. I'm trying to learn salsa, Spanish, tons of real estate stuff, health with the gym, improve my health, etc. And I feel like I can only like really do really well in like a couple of those at a time, and then a couple of my spirituality too, and then things fall off, and then I don't know. It's a constant juggle for me. It's like I'm trying to create this. Okay, like but when I do all the things I have to do in all day, I pretty much just cannot screw around at all, which I'm not good
yeah.
at yet. I still like want my little downtime where I'm floating around on my phone or kind of just chilling with my dog or whatever. But yeah, it's always kind of a ebb and flow for me too. I think it's tough to really like kill it in all areas at all times. So I kind of just pick and choose like, okay, my career last year, and then needed to really focus on my physical health. And but then I noticed I wasn't doing as much in my career. So I kind of had to course correct again, and then okay, once I got that figured out, maybe try some new things, but then it takes away, so it's always a little bit of a balancing act. But no, it's good on
But
you
it
to
feels so good. Like when you're doing it, it feels really good. So for me now, it's like, okay, I can't use work as an excuse of not going to the gym. I just got to get up and go do it. Like, just do it. We always find time for what's important to us. So
yeah. And
I do.
then when we aren't doing something, the longer we're not doing it, it becomes so much bigger and harder. It becomes this big
To go
cloud.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes so over. It just seems like this big journey you got to take on, and then you go, and within 10 minutes, you're like, "Why the hell am I not here every day? What this feels so great, or what? It always
Right.
such a good return." But yeah, it's the game of life, I think. But yeah, no, good on you. And to have self-awareness to recognize it is a huge part. That's how you are able to course correct and adjust, in my opinion. So good on you. So cool. So you got a lot going on. Good for you as far as keeping you motivated, you're wise. What's your typical morning routine? I know especially as a realtor, schedule isn't always the very same every day, but do you have some staples that you do typically on a daily basis in your morning
I
to get
do.
you going?
So first of all, Chime and Zillow, first thing in the morning. And
Good.
a little TMI for you guys, like I don't come in my office to check my Chime and Zillow. I just go straight to my phone. Like literally, I just go straight to my phone. As far as like my Chime, in Chime, we can see who's been looking. And it doesn't take me long. It's less than 30 minutes. I'll see who's looking. They looked at the property. I'll just shoot them a quick text. Hey, would you like to go take a look at 123 Main Street? Just real quick, like just real quick. And then with my Zillow, I'll see kind of like who's looking in there. Same thing. Just, hey, I saw, a couple of new properties. Depends on who the client is. Like if I know they're comfortable knowing that I can see everything they do, but if it's like a weirdo or something, because we do get those, I'll just say, hey, I noticed a couple of new properties came up in Martinez. Are you available? And I'll give are you available this afternoon or tomorrow? And just kind of throw it out there. And depending on how many I have, I'll just cut and paste the same text.
Nice way to keep it efficient. Are you always texting them from your personal cell, through Chime, through Zillow? Do you do a little mix?
I like my personal sale. I recommend properties through Zillow. I very seldom ever text, but there's a button in Zillow where you can literally just recommend a home. It's super easy. I like that one best, but it doesn't always pull up. And I'll tell you guys, I see Christine kind of going through. So Christine, if you go into the app, click on one of your clients or one of your prospects, and they can be in any stage, it doesn't matter. And if you go to like the little quote, it looks like a little quotation, like a conversation. Click on it and then hit the plus button down below by send message. And you see send home recommendation.
Did you find that, Christine? I missed the little quote part, but
yeah, can you go back?
Let's go back.
That is so cool.
Can you guys see my phone? My light's kind of bright. Let me see if I turn my light off. No, it's still bright.
pretty bright.
Can you see it? The little quotation up there?
It's the one next to the phone. The one next to the phone.
Oh, the little text symbol?
Yes.
Yeah. So hit that. And then go to the bottom where you're gonna send a message and just hit that blue plus button. And if you hit home recommendation, I don't always use those, and I'll tell you guys send it, but sometimes I'll send a recommendation that I get from Zillow or Redfin, because for every one of my clients that are serious and that have given enough energy, I have one set up for them, and I'll get every day what comes on the market. Like I have a client right now only looking for single stories. So I have one set up. So it pops in there and I'll just take the address. And if you put search for homes at the top, you put the address in there and it'll pull up any house and you can just send it.
Wow.
So what do they get when you do send it from this and it says, you know, like I have a list of homes. If I were to put a dot in there, does it just send them the link for that home?
It looks like this.
Okay. Okay.
See?
Interesting. This is cool. I had no idea.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
you know what, guys? It takes seconds to stand in front of somebody.
Wow. Love that. Wow, that's a great share.
I just saw that there's text templates too in that same area. There's like templates.
Yeah,
I've never used those before, but yeah, look how simple that would be, just to hit it and send it out.
Yeah, exactly. I think I don't know how to do those from your actual cell phone. But they are quite relatively easy to make within the website. So maybe I'll post a little guide on that in Slack. I think I did that a while ago. But,
well, guess what? It actually lets us pick one. Like I picked my client, Skylar. It says, hi, Skylar, would you like to take a tour? Or are there any questions I can answer? And then it looks like you can just send it. And then they even put your name and like, here's my contact information. Hi, Skylar, great speaking with you. Here's my contact information. Hey, I've never seen that. I've never gone in. I never used that one, but yeah.
Wow, cool. Very cool. So by the way, real quick, I'll share a screen just to show you all how to do, just because I know how to do it on the website. If you're in the Zillow website, on your Zillow Premier Agent site. So if you go, typically you're going to sign in, you'll be in your inbox or you'll be in contacts. But if you go over here to the top right, where your profile picture likely is, and then you go to settings, and then here you'll see message templates down in inbox. And you can, didn't mean to hit that, but here's where you can add templates. So you can add your email, your signature. You can insert, I don't know if you can insert photos here. I don't think so. So you could just, add your signature and then label as your signature, and then that will always come up. This is an email one though. I think there's text. All I know is the email. I'm not sure about text, but I'll look into it. And if I find anything on that, I'll add that to Slack as well. But yeah, cool stuff. Thanks for sharing that. That's really neat.
Well, you know what? I try to keep it, because we do have Zillow and Chime. So there, and I have other people obviously in Chime that aren't Zillow clients. So I try to keep it simple. I'm not like this super techie person. I just want to, keep it like really simple, shoot it out, make it fast, be done. Okay. You've seen Misty Matthews at least one time this week. That's my whole goal.
I love that, because I will say, I was the opposite of this when I started real estate. I would be sending freaking life stories to my leads, trying to like convert them and overthink everything and want to say everything all in one email. And the most successful realtor I've ever been around was on my team in Austin, thankfully. Like we grew up together in real estate, and he was a huge part of our team blowing up. But he was the most simple, like didn't overthink anything, followed up all the time. I don't even think like I ever thought like, oh, am I calling too much ever? And he didn't worry about really punctuation either. Like I would see emails he'd send and I'd be like, oh my God. But it'd be like really simple, like afternoon, want to see you interested in seeing any homes today? Like not warm. If people had a bit of questions, he wasn't always like super soft and warm with his, but just very direct, nice, not mean, not a jerk at all, super nice guy. And just on point, showed up at appointments on time, looking nice and sharp and knowing what he needed to do, while I'm over here overthinking everything and showing up like kind of scrambling because I have so much, I've overthought it. And I mean, I learned so much from him. He just kept it super simple where he could just repeat it over and over and over. And he was able to, you know, follow up with 5 clients in the time it took me to follow up with 2, because I'm over here typing away and re-editing emails and making it, trying to sound all polished and super spectacular, but really they don't give a shit about me. They just want to know, like they want, well, I mean they do, but they don't really care about like my life history at all, ever. And like they just want information. They want to be educated and guided, like you said. So yeah, no, that's amazing when you can just keep stuff repeatable, like stuff you could just repeat over and over, and it removes that overthinking and that delay or that procrastination or fear. I think it eliminates a lot of that too. So that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. So you were saying, how long would you say you spend on a daily basis, or you could say weekly, but following up with and managing your leads?
Less than 30 minutes a day. I follow up every day.
Okay. And is your typical follow-up going to be those texts and those property recommendations, or are you doing a lot of calls as well?
You know, it depends. So, let's use this morning as an example. So I had some texts and I had some calls. And the only reason, usually a call, because Zillow, we said in a Zillow meeting a few months back, and they said that most people will answer a text before a call. I actually prefer to call, I just do, but because I can hear the tone in someone's voice, I can like really get a feel for if they're like bullshitting me, right? Versus a text, you can't. But for clients that I have that rapport with, I'm just going to pick the phone up and call them and like, hey guys, it's Misty, just calling to follow up. I know you really liked that house last week. What are you guys thinking? You know, it hasn't went pending yet, or if it did go pending, that gives me another reason to call them. You know, that house went pending, but I'm going to send you over another one. Sometimes I'll say it's coming soon, or, you know, whatever, just to kind of try and create more urgency and say, hey, we can take a look at it, you know, on Thursday. I know that you said Fridays were really good for you, you know, just to open it up. And usually they'll just say, no, Misty, we're not, but yeah, Misty, we want to see it. So just real quick. I try to keep phone calls less than a minute and a half, 2 minutes max. And it just depends. But for my call, for my text and my recommendations, every day. Nice. Okay. Every day. Beautiful. And I'll just go through my nurture leads and I'll just like send them stuff. So they're constantly seeing stuff from me. Not too much though, because they're already getting the chime updates. And Zillow sends their own updates too, guys. So, you know, just stand in front of them, not where it's not hounding them. There's a lot going on right now with rates. Sometimes I touch on it a little bit, but not always, because it's just too volatile. It's just too much. That makes sense. So you're saying you're doing that for nurture leads as well, but obviously lighter, especially if they're further out. What about your leads that you've yet? Oh, go ahead. Did you have something you want to? No, I was going to say something I'm touching on too is where I'm seeing homes. I sent out a text just like, gosh, I sent one out this morning. Let's see. Only one though. This was only one. I didn't send it to a lot of people, but I sent one to him because he says, Misty, every house we look at, I'll tell you exactly what I said actually. I was like, hey, happy Tuesday. It's Misty. Let me know if you and Jose is his brother, if you and Jose would like to view some homes this weekend. It's kind of early. I usually don't send out these till like Wednesday or Thursday, but I'm super busy. And I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to have time. So I was like, well, let me go and touch base with him. And he says, we were thinking we were going to wait a bit on a couple of homes we went into a bidding war, and we're not really in a rush. So no problem. I always like to say, I totally understand. Just want to give you a quick heads up. The market is changing a little bit in certain markets. I'm seeing some price reductions. So if you see something, make sure and reach out to me, because I don't want us to miss an opportunity.
Nice. Wow, nice. And
right? Like, I don't want us to miss an opportunity.
Inject a little urgency, and then you position yourself as a person to save them from, that fear of missing out or whatnot. So that's terrific. I love that.
Well, yeah, because what's scary right now, a lot of people are kind of staying away because rates went up, right? So then the market slows just a little. Like, freaking rates, it's going to make a $10 difference in your goddamn mortgage. Come on, let's do it. Like, when you really start weighing that down, for every $5,000, guys, it's $10. Like, for every 10,000, it's $20. Like, 20. But people hear, oh my God, rates went up. Like, no, rates went up. It's going to slow the market. This is our turn to attack.
Yeah, nice. And then you can always refinance down the line if they go down. And that's great, though, to break it down, because it's like, okay, this, 10,000, whatever. When you break it down to a monthly, it's a lot easier to digest. And especially when you give them alternative up, like, okay, and this is for now, but then we can refinance if everything goes down, so that's great. And Christine, I know you had your hand up earlier, and I'm sorry I forgot to come back to you, but was that the question you want to ask about, kind of word tracks for getting them pre-approved?
Actually, my question, I did want to make sure I asked that, but my question was in reference to the Zillow text. Is that also like a different phone number when you send texts through the Zillow system? Because I've sent them through Chime, but not Zillow yet.
It is. It's a different number.
So it'll be another number. Okay.
And that's why I send the recommendations, but I don't really text through Zillow, because people will say, who is this? I'm like, oh, it's Mysti.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have an email I'm supposed to reply to you to Mysti about the number, right? Did you email?
Yeah.
Because I do.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So I'll get you on that. And I'll let y'all know.
Well, who's a good person who we can maybe talk to that about? Leslie. So she has it set up in her contacts where her Chime number, her Zillow number, and her personal number, somehow when it goes through, they all see that it's her. And it's funny because when she was explaining it to me, I didn't really understand what she was talking about until I got the text saying, hey, who is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Mysti. So maybe we can ask Leslie, Patrick, what does she have set up? Because she has it where when they have all her phone numbers. So when your client gets something from you, it pops up as you. She totally explained it to me like a few months ago, but it didn't make much sense to me then, because I didn't.
Okay. I wonder if maybe she has a digital business card and has them all, like the one that Christina showed us. Maybe she has them save her in the beginning with her digital business card, which if all those numbers are in there, it would pop up.
It would pop up. I bet maybe that's it.
Yeah, it might be it. I'm gonna check with her on that, because that's pretty trick. I will show you real quick how to find your unique Zillow number. It is similar. Just like we did earlier at the top right here, you're gonna click on settings, and then here if you click on notifications, it will, at the bottom, it will show you your unique Zillow number down here. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's where you can find your unique number. And then I'll see what else we can do with that as far as passing that on to our leads, so they know who is texting them, or ideally that you are texting them and when. This is good stuff. Really, really good stuff. So cool. So let's circle back on we're going to wrap this up in the next 10 minutes, but wanted to kind of know what you're doing to get your leads, like whether you get them an appointment set, they ghost you or not, you meet them or not, but you haven't quite qualified them that they are a nurture, and you haven't gotten them to showing yet. How often are you following up, let's say in the first month? Are you following up on a daily or once weekly basis, or typically what do you routine with that?
So you'd be like, all right, so let's start here. So when I first meet someone, Okay, I have a goal for myself. By the second time that I meet with them, they should be pre-qualified. That is my goal. So when I meet clients for the first time, we go through, and this is why it's important to me to try and set the tour up so we can sit down at some point in the tour and discuss next steps. Right? I know we call it like the driveway talk, and sometimes it has to be because it just depends, but I really try to make it where it's more of a comfortable setting. Guys, I even go as far out to ask people if they'd like to grab some Starbucks. Like, do they have time to grab some Starbucks? So I set enough time with my showings when I'm first meeting somebody for the first time to have that time to maybe go sit at Starbucks. And because now we can talk about the homes we just viewed. I can really have a discussion with them with what their goals are. And believe it or not, I've never had no one turn me down for Starbucks.
Nice.
I never have. Like, I've literally have had, I don't drink coffee, so I drink tea, but I have literally been able to sit down and either have an appetizer, depending on where I'm at. Discovery Bay, I always do the steakhouse. We can go there, have an appetizer, and maybe a drink, depends on who the client is. But to be able to talk to them, okay, I want to answer a question before I tell another story. So that's what I like to do. So in the way I go into that, because the next time I meet them and take them out, I really want them to have to be pre-qualified. It lets me know how serious they are. When I'm touring with them, I don't ask a lot of questions like where do you work? What do you do? Because I'm saving all that to the end. I want them, we're going to make some small talk. We're going to get to know each other. We're going to kind of laugh. It's just building the rapport and the trust. That is all I want them to do, to like me and trust me. That is my whole goal. The only thing I ever take to showings with me is the MLS printout. That's it. That's it.
Just
I have them on a clipboard. If we're seeing multiple properties.
Teammate, my best agent, he's just super simple. MLS printout, done.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So guys, give me 1 second. I got a client calling and I tried to send it to, and they're calling 2 times. Okay, hi, Susan. Oh, it hung up. Maybe she did get my text. Okay, so that's all I take, because my first meeting with them is just for them to like and trust me. And hopefully we can go and grab a quick drink or something after the first time. And that's when I go into pre-qualification. And sometimes I go get I can get Chris right on the phone and we kind of answer any questions that they may have and get them pre-qualified before we go out the second time to tour homes. Because now I know how serious they are.
And so, so I'm going to step one step back. So before you meet them, let's say between the call and the actual appointment, what are you providing them? Are you let's say I call for an appointment. I called today, I want to see a house tomorrow at 3 p.m. What would I expect to receive from you? Is it going to be a text business card? Is it going to be an intro email video? Is it going to be, are you going to confirm next steps, offer coffee, send a calendar invite? What are you doing to between the call and the appointment?
Okay, so this is, as soon as you call me, right after we hang up, you're going to get my digital business card, which looks like,
is this the one that like WR and Gina Marie provided, or?
Yep, just Gina Marie put it together for me, and I just go straight. Look, my client's calling me again, guys.
You're all good. No worries.
Susan? I think she might be butt dialing me. Okay, it looks just like this.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Yeah, I got you though. The business card so you just text that out right away, right?
Yeah, I text. Okay, but then I put something real quick, like it's a Zillow lead, right, that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just put that it was very nice chatting with them. Actually, let me just pull it up.
Because yeah, this is just a rinse and repeat. You just do this for almost everyone, right?
Yeah, so I have a marketing folder on my phone. And I just cut and paste it instantly.
Nice.
So let's see here. me find one of my most recent leads.
And there's a couple other ways to save, like if you wanted to save your business card and not have to always look through your photos and find it and resend it. A couple ways. A, obviously save it into your favorites or into like a business folder in your photos, like I think Misty's mentioning. B, you can also text it to yourself and pin yourself on your text. So like, for example, if you look at my text at the top, I am pinned.
Oh.
So whenever I have something important that I'm always resending, or if it's something I want to like read again or not, let's say somebody sends me a resource and I message with them all the time, it's going to get lost in the flow of the thread. Something that's important, I just text it to myself, because obviously I don't text myself a lot, so it's not going to be a huge thread, but especially with like copying and pasting certain images, things like that. That's one way to do it. But you use a folder in your photos, is that correct?
Yeah, I have a marketing folder that has other stuff too, which I'll share. So it's easy for me just to go in there, copy it, and it's right in there. So it looks, when I first get a Zillow lead, I just said, hi, Arthur and Emma, because it's him and his wife. As promised, here's my direct contact information. Looking forward to meeting you on Monday. I'm also going to send you some other single story homes to view. If you like them, we'll tour those also. If you see any other properties, please feel free to contact me directly, as mentioned on the call. Because, you know, I tell people Zillow, we're connected through Zillow, contact me directly. So I send that, and then if I'm not able to see them, I'm seeing them the next day, I don't send it. But if I'm not seeing them, I have my stuff that I send, like my testimonials, the process, which I know Christine has seen this one, and then how real estate agents are paid, which I think is extremely important because a lot of people don't know. And I just realized that my little about me was not in there. Let's go back and I'll pull that up for you guys too. Oh, wait, I have that in here for. And this was a referral client, but for my referrals, I've been taking the same like approach. So there's like about me, like who am I? So, but I do it quick, like really, really quick. So it's still fresh on their mind. Like, okay, who is this person I just talked to? Because if they're on the internet just pressing around, right, they're getting crap from everybody. We know how that goes.
Exactly.
So I send that out. And that particular one, I said we could see the property at 11 because I looked it up real fast before I text them. But sometimes I won't send it. I'll give a call in 30 minutes. I still like phone calls. I know Zillow said text works, but unless they request, I text them to confirm. I like to call and confirm. Because something I've noticed, when Zillow leads don't respond to my text that they receive, they tend to be a little flaky. Like when they get your information and then they don't be like, oh, thank you, I got it. I've noticed that they tend to be a little flaky, but people who respond like, oh, thanks, tend to not be as flaky and more solid.
That makes sense. Definitely.
I mean, it could just be me, but I swear I really have noticed that when they respond to the text, yeah. Or if they even call and say, wait, I didn't see it, or I didn't get it. Yeah, they seem to be more solid.
That definitely makes sense. And then if I'm correct, you're sending something directly from Chime right away too, right?
Yeah. So you helped me hook this up, which I think I want to discuss it with you. So when anyone goes into Chime, so when Zillow drops into Chime, an automatic video goes directly out to everyone. Even if I manually put them in, they get a video that I had that talks about who I am.
Yeah,
it's kind of like 5 little questions. It talks about who I am, why I got into real estate, why is real estate important to me, what do I think makes a great agent, what kind of agent you should work with, and that goes directly out to any lead that goes into Chime.
Nice, love that. You're hitting them in all different ways and with good stuff, like ways to introduce yourself and position yourself as an expert in the industry and somebody that they at least should go look at some homes with, if not work with going forward. So that's terrific. Cool. Well, we could talk about this for hours. I'm going to try to wrap it up in the next few minutes and wanted to know, so as far as your leads that are not as responsive, let's say, or that are a little tougher to get, that aren't as motivated or as engaged at first, whether it be somebody that you did meet with once or you set an appointment and they canceled. Are you still following up with them? Going like, are you putting in, are you following up once a week for 4 to 8 weeks, or do you have a kind of process with those that you're
I
working?
do, for 30 days. And I have a perfect example. So I had a client that wanted to see a home in Discovery Bay. Unfortunately, the seller decided to take the home off of the market and we didn't get to view it. I hate those, right? It's like, oh man, I need to meet these people. Like I need to get in front of them. But I wasn't able to. There was nothing else for me to even freaking show. Thanks, Andy. Andy said, I like that video. I couldn't. There was nothing. She didn't want to see anything else. And I was like, darn it. So I follow up for 30 days. And I do get some responses, but if we're not going back out, like if I don't get that appointment in the 30 days, I do move them to nurture. Because I need to be able to see clear. Like to me, if there's a whole lot of numbers like in appointment set or met with, no, if you're serious, like you went and pressed the button and you wanted to see a home, and if you're serious, we should be together within the next week, next 2 weeks. We should be looking at some homes, right? So after 30 days, and I do follow up weekly, sometimes even twice a week, depending on if I'm getting any responses from them. But 30 days to me is my max in appointment set.
Got you. Okay, cool. And
I did the same thing with met with, because I feel like, 30 days is a long time. And I'll also look at their activity.
That makes sense. Okay, so it's not just a 30-day cutoff, but typically 30 days, if they're active or getting some little responses, maybe working a little harder, obviously kind of discretion.
To kind of see if they're looking at a lot of rentals. I have one particular lead right now looking at, she wanted to see a home in Walnut Creek. We set the appointment, she canceled. And this was over 30 days ago. It's probably like 45 days, but she canceled. And then I tried to, reset something up. And she's like, oh no, I'm really busy. Then she started looking at like $1.3 million houses in Tiburon. And then she looked at some rentals. She was just kind of like all over the place. But I just followed up with her this morning, but she's in nurture.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. So you're still following up with your nurtures too?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
And you guys know that in our flex, when you have it, I don't think I have any, so I might not be able to show you, but here's kind of like my pipeline, kind of, if you guys can kind of see it. I like clarity, right? I want to be able to focus on people that are money-making activities that I can move to a deal. But in nurture, when you haven't followed up, it gives you a little orange tag. I don't have any right now, but there's an orange tag. If you just go on your nurtures every day and scroll, it'll be an orange tag across in that they need attention. So I used to think that it would pop up, but it doesn't. It just gives you that little orange tag to follow up.
Yeah. It's a little easier to like sort all of them in the website. You can just click updates due and it sorts them out for you. But yeah, so and anyone in nurture will require an update every 28 days by Zillow. And then all the pipelines before that, it's every 7 days. You'll get your little update reminder. So, okay, that's good stuff. No, good to know. And then I guess the last question on that, what are your talk points? If you're calling somebody for 3-4 weeks, nothing's happened, are you always just say checking in, or do you refer to the property alerts? Like I know I do, I refer to the property alerts a lot in Chime, but I work as like an ISA for some agents. So I'm just following up with no rapport or anything, and I just want something to fall back on. It's like, hey, I just want to check, make sure the properties we're sending are fitting your, criteria. But what kind of...
I probably customize it a little more. I make sure I make really detailed notes, guys, for every person I come across, so I can remember something about them. The one lady that I didn't have a home to show her in Discovery Bay. She actually lives in Redwood City, and she comes out to visit friends in Discovery Bay. So I took advantage of that during the 4th of July and was like, hey, Valerie, are you coming out to see friends? Maybe this holiday weekend, we can go take a look at a couple of properties, So I try to like make it a little more custom to them. So I can think of somebody else. I had a client who was getting her nursing license in July. So I just kind of go through and look at my notes real quick and say, hey, this is a congratulation. Am I going to be sending out a congratulations soon? You know, so it's just not always about, you know, the house. So it's kind of like I'm just in front of them. So I try to make just really good notes so I can kind of remember. I had a guy in Martinez who was looking at like a tear down house, wanted to be in the $300,000 range for his daughter. So I just kind of, you know, reached out and said, I know that you said you didn't want to look at any townhomes or anything, but I'm going to shoot this one over to you. I think it would be a really good fit for your daughter. I have no idea what his daughter's like, right? No idea whatsoever. But just to make it a little more custom so they know that I remember them, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of. And I make notes for myself, so I kind of remember that.
Love that. And are you putting, I think I'll just wrap it up with this last question. So let's say you're out on the road, you take a call, you're busy, you're showing, you're writing offers. If you can't just write down your notes right away, are you making a little audio note, or are you just remembering and first thing in the morning putting it in, or how are you making sure?
Remember, I'm super simple. Okay, so we spend so much time on these phones. Sometimes I just want to put my phone away and not look at it. So I always have my clipboard, and I just make a quick note. I just make a real quick note, and I only have a calendar for the week, so I'm compartmentalized by the week and the day and week. So if I get something, I just make a quick chat, and then I look at today is Tuesday. I did not contact Bomb, but it's out there. And I had to set up some final walkthroughs, and then anything else that I have on there, I just kind of like take a quick glance and I can mark it off. I am super old when it comes to that. I get the gratification of marking things off. So no, I just make a quick note. And I usually have, like in my car, I even have a little notepad that if something comes up, because if I'm on the phone and then something else, I can just get it out of my head, right? Like, look, another notepad. And then I just rip it off and throw it away. It's done. It's not saved on my phone. It's not.
I do stuff like that. So I have my copy of the MLS
Just like
printout. You're coming in and out. But yeah, I usually put my copy of the MLS printout of the house we're seeing on a clipboard. And so like if a spouse or kids are with them, I'll quickly jot down the names because I forget people's names. Like the minute they've told me, I've forgotten already. Or anything that they say. And then while they're walking around, like if they make comments about the yard or things they like or dislike, I put it on there. And then that way, if I don't have a chance to put it in the notes right away, I just save that just like Mysti. And then I sit down and toss it or do whatever. But this way they don't feel like I'm also like making all these notes. They don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's nice. No, that's a good
right.
I should have entered this class before I entered real estate, because I would have been better at that. Terrible with names, and then it's so bad when you meet somebody and you don't remember their name and you can't refer to it. I'm really good at it now, asking for it on calls, and like if I get a call with, let's say, an Indian client where I can't understand, ask again and then ask how to spell it, because I think it makes your follow-up so much easier when you obviously their name, but anything personal you can refer to. Anything.
Yeah, because now it's more personable, you know, like.
Exactly. Well, this has been awesome. I did not think we were going to go for a full hour. I think we could easily go 2, but I don't think we'd all be loving these or showing up for many more if I stretched it. But no, thank you, Christine, Christina, Andy. Do you guys have any questions for Mysti or myself before we log off and go crush the day?
Oh, but thank you. This was very helpful. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Mysti and Patrick.